guys, and welcome back to WrestleMania for another WWE weekly video. The WWE can't predict the future, and at times they've spent many TV hours and money building a feud between two wrestlers, but for some unforeseen circumstances aren't able to deliver, some of them even being dream matches. As a result, the WWE is left with no choice but to replace a scheduled match with another, or at times completely changing the match altogether. In this episode we're going to look at the top 5 matches that were planned but at the last minute we got something else, and why they didn't happen. The leading rivalry going into No Mercy 2007 was between John Cena and Randy Orton in a last man standing match. Following their match at SummerSlam, a rivalry began between the two when Orton interfered in a match between Cena and Booker T, or King Booker as he was known at the time. He cost Cena the match. The rivalry heated between the two when Orton actually attacked John Cena's father and punted him in the head. A match therefore was scheduled at Unforgiven, but was given a crap finish when John Cena was disqualified for ignoring the referee. And this set up their match for what was to be their final bout at No Mercy. Before the match, however, Cena legitimately tore his pectoral muscle during a match with Mr. Kennedy. Consequently, the match was cancelled and Cena had to vacate the WWE Championship belt to Orton. Since Orton wasn't supposed to come into the event as champion, he decided who he wanted to face, and even though he turned down a match with Triple H, it still happened. So Orton's request was pretty meant, and since Cena was out, for no reasons whatsoever, we would have a second match between Triple H and Orton in the promised last man standing stipulation. After a grueling battle, Orton came out the victor and it was awarded the championship back to him again. Was the match better than expected? Since we already had a number of Cena and Orton matches from before, it was evident that both Cena and Orton didn't really have any chemistry together, and them going out in a full-on brawl would have made the match a bit stale. The only thing going into the match was the heated rivalry that they created, making it personal by having Cena's father involved. To its credit, the replacement last man standing match was very good, as both Triple H and Orton had very good chemistry between each other, making their matches more exciting. So all in all, I definitely think that the change was actually positive. Since they were really pushing Orton to be a big star, it was inevitable that he would come out the victor in any case. The rise of CM Punk was at its peak in 2012. He managed to retain his WWE Championship for an entire year, turned heel and had a standoff with The Rock. For the majority of the year though, he was in a heated feud with Ryback. Ryback at the time wasn't what he is today. At the time, he was taken very seriously and pushed to be a dominant Goldberg-like force, and much like him had an undefeated streak that really made it seem that Punk was genuinely at risk of losing his title. They had feuded at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view and the Survivor Series, but Punk would always come out the victor by deceit. The feud culminated into a match at TLC 2012, and the match again would be for the WWE title. As fate would have it, Punk partially tore his meniscus, and since he couldn't compete in the match, it was changed to a 6-man tag involving Team Hell No, consisting of Daniel Bryan, Kane and Ryback, versus The Shield. Their match was then postponed to a January episode of Raw. So, was it better than expected? I think it must have been a blessing in disguise, as the 6-man tag team match was awesome and elevated the Shield's debut match as a powerful faction. As for Punk and Ryback, their match on Raw was predictable, as once more the Shield had to interfere to cut the match short, something that was surely going to happen if the match went to plan at TLC. As Punk notoriously mentioned on Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast, he still hadn't fully recovered from his injury and seemed to have sustained further injuries from the match in January, and also went on to say that Ryback wasn't safe in the ring. For you older fans, you might recall that the Ultimate Warrior was scheduled to appear as one half of the Ultimate Maniacs at the Survivor Series 1992. Fans of the Warrior were disappointed as this never happened. Instead, we got Macho Man and Mr. Perfect versus Razor Ramon and Ric Flair. So what happened? During the early 90s, Warrior had stirred up a lot of controversy in the WWE. Before SummerSlam 1991, he held up Vince for $500,000 due to money owed. Otherwise, he threatened to no-show the pay-per-view. He was paid and then immediately fired. Warrior then made his return in 1992 at WrestleMania 8, where he would run in to save Hulk Hogan and thereafter start a feud with Macho Man over who had sold out to both Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect. Spoiler, none of them did. They instead teamed up as a force that would be known as the Ultimate Maniacs. Even though they did have a match against both Money Incorporated and the Nasty Boys on TV tapings, the team was short-lived as the Ultimate Warrior left the WWF before the match at Survivor Series 92. Now, even though it's been unconfirmed, there have been many rumours surrounding why he left. Vince had stated in the Ultimate Destruction of the Warrior DVD that he failed a drugs test. Others say that Warrior wasn't too happy with the direction the WWF was taking with him. Since he left, Mr. Perfect was forced to turn face and join Macho as an ally and face off against his former ally Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. So, was the match better? I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that fans would have wanted to see this unstoppable force in a proper tag team match. And of course, who doesn't mark out when they see these two together in a tag team? Of course, with the Warrior's wrestling ability, the match would have predominantly been carried out with Savage having to do most of the work, but fans wouldn't care. I really wish this tag team could have gone a lot longer, but I'm pretty sure that Warrior felt that being demoted to a tag team wasn't good for him or his character. Plus, Perfect's face turn really hurt his character, as it was so sudden and not really given much thought. His character seemed to be bland and generic, as people don't really tend to like people who boast about being perfect. He was definitely better playing a cynical heel, which he returned to doing on commentary in early 1996. Many people like myself, I'm sure, are still reeling over one of wrestling's most shocking tragedies. I am of course talking about the Chris Benoit tragedy that would befall in 2007. On the 25th June 2007, at the Vengeance Night of the Champions pay-per-view, fans were eagerly awaiting a dream match between CM Punk and Chris Benoit, arguably two of the best wrestlers the company had to offer. After Benoit no-showed the pay-per-view, WWE officials had to decide it was either going to be John Morrison, aka Johnny Nitro, or Kevin Thorne to be his replacement for the match. In fact, in an interview, John Morrison told of his guilt when he prayed that Benoit wouldn't show so that he would get his big break instead. Little did he know, or even the WWE by that time, Benoit had committed a double murder, murdering both his wife Nancy Benoit and 7-year-old son Daniel Benoit. The last-minute replacement was given to Nitro, who went on to win the ECW Heavyweight Championship over CM Punk. So was this match better than expected? It was confirmed by officials and Stephanie McMahon that if Benoit had turned up and everything went according to plan, Benoit was set to win the match and become the new face of ECW. His reign was to be for a considerable amount of time even. But again, was it a better match? I'm afraid not. It was pretty tough to replace this match, as many fans including myself wanted Benoit vs CM Punk to happen, and in comparison, a CM Punk vs Nitro match didn't seem too bad, but it didn't deliver as the match was very lackluster and fans didn't seem to get into it after being let down with the last minute replacement. After Punk became WWE Champion at SummerSlam 2011, He was attacked by Kevin Nash, stating that Triple H had sent him a message telling him to take out the winner regardless of who it was. The attack gave enough time for Alberto Del Rio to come out and cash his Money in the Bank contract and become WWE's new champion. Punk wanted to then face Nash at the Night of Champions to get revenge on him for causing the loss. After it was revealed that Nash sent the messages from Triple H's phone, he then changed it to a no DQ match involving him instead. So why the change? The match was primarily changed due to Nash revealing that he had been taking Plavix, which is a blood platelet agulator. This primarily thins the blood in the body to prevent strokes and heart attacks. Due to Nash's family medical history, it was taken as a precaution. The only problem was that the doctors couldn't give Nash the all clear to wrestle, and had to therefore make the substitution. So was the match better than expected? If Nash was given the all clear, the storyline going into the pay-per-view was going to be much more different. Nash confirmed that instead of him being the instigator to the messages, it was going to be John Laurinaitis, and this would have started a feud between Nash and Triple H, stating that he was a blue blood now and not part of the clique. The divide would have caused a break between John Laurinaitis' guys and Triple H's guys. In fact, eventually down the line, Vince would be fired and John Laurinaitis' guys would have actually tried to take over the company. This storyline sounds like a much better one than the one we got. Due to the changes, and by no means any fault of the creative team, the replaced storyline was clearly rushed. It was rushed to bring in Triple H's involvement and the reason for the replacement. Nash also admitted himself that the majority of the quick changes happened due to his change of information given to the creative team, which meant that they were unprepared going into this pay-per-view. The matches, however, well, we would have no way got a better match with the original plans. Now, I'm not putting Nash down in any way as a wrestler. Those who have seen Bret Hart vs Diesel's matches in the mid-90s showed that he could definitely pull off a good match. For the most part of his career though, Nash was seen as a big character with charisma that didn't quite match his in-ring ability. Punk, I'm sure, would have done all he could with him, but the match, I'm sure, couldn't have garnered a much higher rating than that of Triple H and Punk. That isn't to say that the match planned was one of the best matches. Even though the match was entertaining for the most part, it was ruined by continuous run-ins by both The Miz, R-Truth, and of course Kevin Nash. The interference really hindered the match, and Punk's streak had also come to an end by Triple H coming out victorious. Everybody do the burial. Well guys, this about wraps up this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you can, like, comment and subscribe. I will try my best to get out a video each week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.